So, first topic of conversation, could Threads destroy Twitter or destroy X as it's suddenly rebranded before I had chance to change the graphics? Thank you, Zuck, thank you, Elon, rather, for that one. So, Instagram's new app has exploded in growth since launching, gaining 100 million users in its first 5 days, and many are saying it has the potential to damage Twitter or X's market share. Elon has since threatened to sue Zuck for stealing and for cheating. However, some people are calling the claims ridiculous. The growth of Threads has kind of, the daily active users has definitely gone down quite a bit since it started. But gaining 100 million users in like less than a week is probably the fastest growing social app in history, and probably even more than like GPT. So maybe it's even the fastest growing service in history. I mean, I know that term is going to get used like another 5 times this year probably, but it just is at this point. So could Threads destroy Twitter, destroy X? Keen to get your perspectives. Jason, when you hear about the news of Threads being launched, when you see Instagram's play to go against the stuff that's been happening with Twitter, with people, not all people loving it, some people hating it, and them trying to capitalize on that, what's your perspective on the story, mate?
I don't know. It's funny, isn't it? I think I saw a few memes at the initial launch, sort of talking about whether or not it was achieving the same growth that Google Plus did when it came out. And the fact that it's such a carbon copy, there's not, the innovation maybe is in how they're going to manage moderation and things like that, potentially. Yeah. I think you just have to wait and see. Like you say, it's all about active users, and if people get on it and the community changes and it's not something that's tangibly better for people or businesses than X, then it won't last. And if it is, then it will. But a lot of that depends, I guess, on how people behave on the platform. And I guess I've used Threads a little bit, and people seem nice. Yeah. So that's good. Yeah.
Like I've used it a bit. It's been really positive and friendly and everything. Obviously, Instagram and Zuck have a different point of view on censorship and banning people. That Musk is a bit more of a free for all, and let almost everybody on it, and that obviously comes with some bad as well as the good side of the freedom of speech, whereas this is a little bit more focused on, we don't want politics, we don't necessarily want arguments happening on the platform. It's more a space for you to talk about sports or music or whatever, and that's definitely got more positivity, right, than the other side of the coin. What's your view, Yarrow, on the platform or on the news? What's your take on this?
Yeah, I would say it depends, probably. If it takes the route of Instagram and it basically polishes the app to the state where it's like better than competitors, then definitely I can see it killing Twitter or X. But again, I mean, it's still in beta, right? So it's lacking loads of features, and maybe users will be running away because they don't have everything they have in X at the moment. So
it's a really good point, and you mentioned it a second ago, Jason. Like, it's a very light version of X at the moment. Like, it's got like the news feed, it's not even like a following list, is it? It's just like an algorithm. It's just like everything meshed together. So following, will add people there, but it's there's no separation at the moment. I don't know if it's got like searches or like hashtags. I don't think it's got anything like that. I'm sure it's got mentions. It's got a profile. I don't think it has DMs. I don't think it has audio, video. It's pretty basic, right? So it's not quite as good as X, just from a pure tech perspective at the moment. What do you chaps think about, like, people have gone on, they've used it, 100 million people, and it's not as good as like some of the other platforms that are out there? Do you think they're going to stick around, or do you think that X needs to quickly, Threads needs to quickly start shipping and building on this to kind of keep those daily active users in place? Google Plus, great example of something being really successful, and then suddenly being the complete opposite, where everybody left, and like I don't think it even exists, but if it does, it's like one tech blogger using it, and that's it. So what are your takes on like the rise and how they could keep people, potential fall? What's your view on that side of the coin, Jason?
Yeah, they're sort of they seem to be on polar opposite sides of the scale, right? Yeah. X is specifically Elon Musk saying, I want the everything platform, right? I want this to do everything from being your bank to do payments to being your instant messenger, like just everything in one box. Whereas Threads and Meta, I think they generally have kept products light. and focused on some specific use case or type of user. Instagram, I guess, which is where this is sort of, that's the company that it's spun out of.
Yeah.
Again, has done that, right? There's millions of features I'm sure they could have added to Instagram, but they've kept it pretty focused. Something like WhatsApp, I guess, which is their like DM platform. It makes sense that maybe they wouldn't bother adding that to Threads. If you want to do that with a Meta product, go and use WhatsApp or something. So, it seems like maybe keeping it light, keeping it focused, will be its strength. In the same way that X is saying, making it the everything platform. They want to make it that app's strength. So I guess we'll have to wait and see. I quite like having specific tools for specific jobs. So I don't really mind having like loads of different things that I use for different purposes. I like having that little sandbox that I know I go to Instagram when I want to look at pretty pictures and nothing else. If I want to speak to my mum, I go to WhatsApp. And that's I think that's pretty good. So we'll see. It might be that X as a payment platform, he's built them before. Right, everyone loves PayPal.
Absolutely.
So maybe it'll be a smash hit. We'll see.
And if he can pull it off, obviously, he's already the richest person ever, but, he'll be the richest person ever times 2 or something. So obviously that's, taking on the financial industry is the industry if you want to make money. I agree with what you're saying. Each Facebook product seems to serve a particular market and they tend to stick with it. They do definitely copy other platforms like Instagram copying Snapchat with the stories and then copying TikTok with the reels, and that kind of feels like what Instagram has almost become to a degree. But I think it's really smart the fact that they labeled Threads under the gram rather than Facebook, because the Facebook brand is just like nobody's interested in that. It's dead, isn't it? Too much bad press, and it's just been around for too long, so the fashion was just gone off that platform. Whereas with Instagram, it's still cool. Like, Instagram's got 2 billion daily active users. It's still like a great platform. They haven't even turned on like promotions, like I haven't seen anything in Instagram like saying like, hey, go and check out Threads. There's been no alert, there's been no notification or anything. So I imagine the daily active users, once they've dropped more features, will be successful, and I think this app will probably take off and become a thing. I don't know if it will replace X, but I think you'll probably start to see multiple people in that world, whereas before it was really just Twitter, and then like Blue Sky and Mastodon and like all those like other little niche ones that nobody really used. They didn't really catch on. What's your take, Yarrow, on I guess that conversation around like them needing to add more features? Could it fail if they don't? Could the 100 million people turn into the next Google Plus? What's your take on that?
Yeah, I would say it all depends again, to be honest. If they are slow in releases, then definitely their fate is kind of controlled by Musk and what he does. Because like if he does more controversial things, then there's a high chance that people will start moving to Threads. But at the same point, I believe they will add a lot of features because like that's a big company and they have resources to actually do that. And eventually they will get to a bit closer to whatever X or Twitter is currently, and people will start going there. Another thing with Mastodon and Blue Sky, I believe both are still in beta or even like something else.
I got a invite code from the CEO of Blue Sky to do the beta, and it was a cool platform, but it was exactly the same as Threads. It was just a basic version of Twitter. I mean, I know it's decentralized and everything, and that's great, for a super techie, but for the average person using it, they don't really care, about that.
Yeah, and that's my point, because basically only a developer or even a particular developer will know about Blue Sky or Mastodon, because it's really niche product, and with Threads and Twitter, it's like everywhere. It's public and everyone talks about it, so people will definitely move to that one. So we'll see.
Yeah. What about in terms of who will win then? If we're doing the cage match, which might be happening, Musk versus Zuck, Threads versus X, who is gonna, 5 years from now, who is the leader on that type of messaging platform? I don't really know what you'd call it. I mean, I guess I could say like a tweeting like platform, because the word tweeting is, I guess, dead now. So maybe that'd be like the dictionary definition for that type of social platform, if that makes sense. But who's going to win? Threads versus X. 5 years from now, let's get predictions. Jason, what would you say?
Who's going to win? maybe they'll be fighting. This is going to such a cop-out answer. I'm really sorry, but maybe it depends. I feel like one of them's going to be doing boxing and the other one's in MMA.
Okay,
you know, and it's like,
I think you're probably right.
Yeah, who would win in a fight? You know, I hope that Threads doesn't try to bloat itself, copying a bunch of people and focuses on the community, because a lot of the time with the platform, especially with social media, and I guess microblogging is no different than any of the others, and maybe it's more public, is if people can find a community of individuals who are interested in talking about the similar subjects in a positive way that kind of gives them something, that'll get people to stay. I still use Facebook Messenger with some groups of friends, because they're like because they're like, that's the platform they use, and I go there for the conversation. So I hope that they focus on that. I feel like Twitter maybe has lost its way maybe a little bit in focusing on having productive communities. And maybe X will be loads better at that.
Sure.
But that's who I think will win.
Both and neither.
Both and neither. I'm going to say Threads, because I've got to pick a side, haven't I?
You do. I think the whole it almost, I believe, kind of will be like almost like the political party, because Musk is kind of clearly on one side of the aisle. Maybe that will attract his mindset to that platform, as opposed to Zuck on the other end of the spectrum. I don't know what Zuck's political views are, but if I'm just guessing.
Reptiles from space. The Illuminati.
The lizard person. Yeah. There's a really funny clip online of him talking about how he says something like, if I was human or something, and then he corrects himself and goes, but I am a human. He had a moment of realization there. But
it's got the in-ear just reminding him.
Yeah.
Breathe. Don't forget to make sure that they know that you're a human being.
Maybe there'll be political differences between the two platforms. I don't know, but that's what my gut would tell me. But what's your take, Yarrow? You have to pick a winner. Threads, Twitter, X, Bebo, MySpace, Friendster. What's happening? Who's winning?
Yeah, I'll probably be on the same side. I'll start the same side that Jason started, because, to be honest, I can't see anyone currently winning, but we'll definitely see in the future. Again, I have a feeling that they will probably share the market, and maybe one will be a bit more powerful, another one will be a bit less, but still, it's going to be a sound competition, and that's what I hope it's going to be, because that will allow users to get more benefits. Because if they start actually fighting to each other, they will start introducing new features, new discounts, whatever.
Exactly. It feels like there hasn't been much innovation in that microblogging world. That's probably, you said that term, it's probably a better word than just saying tweeting, I guess. So I think if I had to kind of give my point of view, I think if X can pull it off, become the everything app, then obviously they will win.